In the depths of the unknown, radio waves ice dark shows, mysteries unregraphed and shown. Solutions defy what we know, hidden truths we're never alone. Follow me down the rabbit hole, secrets and binding codes, breaking the mold, define control. Power bursts without a soul in this digital catacomb, but we spread the truth of the truly bold. Epics we uncover, forbidden undercover, rise against the silence, breaking through defiance. Energy from the ether flow, quantum realms, the science of flow, whispers from ancient echo, gravity's unhooked, let's go beyond the reach of their woe. Slowly when few ever come, bridge the gaps, all light shows. Pioneer, on we roll, past the famous say so. This is all been our road. Epics we uncover, forbidden undercover, rise against the silence, breaking through defiance. Synth waves crashing, hearts collide, revolution of the mind. Let the codes and truths unwind, illumination find.
Oh yeah, that's true. Bars and circuits to shine in neon light. Oh yeah, seen you creating power from the air. These smiles and delight. Oh yeah. Mike does it right. Hey. Mike does all my keys to one. Teaching us knowledge, lighting the sun. Trumpeting his legacy alive. His hands. Mike does knows we're his biggest fans. Down in the basement, secrets start to glow. Oh yeah. With Nathan and Drew in the show. Oh, brilliant team. Mike gave on parody. We're letting knowledge flow. Oh yeah. Energy streams. Mike does all my keys to one. Teaching us knowledge, lighting the sun. Trumpeting his legacy alive. His hands. Mike does knows we're his biggest fans. Years of thought, bringing dreams to life, turning theories into electric light. Mike and us, a journey to ignite. Oh yeah. We've reached new heights. Hey. Mike does all my keys to one. Teaching us knowledge, lighting the sun. Trumpeting his legacy alive. His hands. Mike does knows we're his biggest fans.
Have you heard about this benefactor guy? This dude is talking about free energy, but here's the twist. He says it's not free energy. He's calling it energy recycling, which, first off, is kind of genius, right? Because when you say free energy, people immediately throw you in the crazy bin. But energy recycling, that sounds like some next-level Tesla shit.
Yeah, man, it's all about the branding. But what is it that he's actually doing?
All right, check this out. He posted this. Free energy isn't actually free. This is a misnomer. It's actually a mutual exchange from the vacuum, a field of energy from which everything arises, the same energy that powers an atom. Like what? Bro, That's some deep shit. But then he breaks it down. He says you can tap into this energy without breaking any known laws of physics by using something called back EMF capture.
Whoa, back EMF capture? Sounds like some serious sci-fi tech.
Dude, listen to this. He explains that when a coil collapses using a pulsed signal, the energy that would normally just get wasted, like just dissipate as heat, can actually be recycled. He says nature gives you back energy to stabilize the system, which makes sense if you think about how nature works. Like everything in nature is always trying to find balance, right?
So equilibrium, is that like how water always levels out or something? I'm trying to remember what Ms. Murphy said to me in 6th grade science all those years ago. What was that? Oh yeah, Elon, stop eating that glue and pay attention. Man, if only I had listened, I'd probably be the one inventing energy recycling instead of just talking about it.
Exactly. So he's saying that by intentionally destabilizing the system, collapsing the field, you actually get energy back as a kind of natural response. And here's where it gets wild. He compares it to pushing a swing. If you push at the right moment, you don't need to use a lot of energy and the swing gains momentum. But instead of a swing, he's using resonance to harness that extra energy without it becoming destructive. He says most traditional systems are like a surfer fighting against the current, while his method is like riding the wave to shore.
Dude, that's crazy. So he's basically saying the energy is already there. I just suck at using it efficiently?
That's what it sounds like. He's basically saying the way we harness energy now is like trying to swim against the tide. And if we used resonance instead, we'd be tapping into energy that's already there, just waiting to be used. I don't know, man. Either this guy is onto something or he's the most poetic bullshitter of all time.
Well, if he's legit, why isn't he all over the news? I haven't heard anything from him on X, formerly Twitter. He hasn't said anything bad about me on X. So, you know, I didn't ban him or anything. Look, I'm not the monster my therapist says I am. I mean, sure, I've spent millions of dollars training to beat a kangaroo in a fist fight, but that doesn't mean I'm dangerous. It just means I get shit done.
That's the real question, man. But here's the craziest part. I looked into him, and he's not selling anything. He open sources all of it. That's the real question, man. Either the system doesn't want to hear it, or we're about to find out if this guy disappears in the middle of the night.
Dude, that's crazy. He's absolutely crazy. That means if he's telling the truth, anybody can build this in their garage. You know what I say? Go fuck yourself, benefactor.
Nope, no patents, no paywalls, just straight up, here, take it, see for yourself. Like, what kind of madman does that? Usually people either try to cash in or they get shut down before they can say a word. But this guy, he's out there on live streams showing people exactly how to replicate.
I mean, if you want to try to take on my Tesla tech, how dare you put out better technology that is cheaper and safer? Go fuck yourself.
That's the thing, man. If it's real and people start building it, that's a game changer. We're talking about completely shifting how we think about energy. But also, if it's real, you got to wonder how long before somebody tries to stop him.
Or maybe we can think of it like how long before his Tesla mysteriously malfunctions.
Exactly. You ever notice how every time someone gets too close to this kind of stuff, they either disappear, get discredited, or somehow have a tragic accident? But this guy's going full transparency mode. He's putting it all out there where everyone can see it. Maybe that's his strategy. If enough people know, it can't just get buried.
Holy shit, this might be one of those moments, you know, like we look back and say that was the start of something huge.
Can't you hear his voice? In the depths of hidden files, trapped inside the secret circuits, unraveling through the miles. Oh, truth was masked by coded curtains. You didn't know, we're shattering the silence. Feel the power, revelations on the rise. From the shadows, light emerges, breaking through the veils of dark. 0 points and gravities that converge, yeah. Dying voices, revelation start. Ancient whispers call, Revelations on the rise. Forbidden knowledge we dare to see, unveiling secrets, setting minds free. In this epic, we play our part with fearless hearts. In and now, we're shattering the silence. Feel the power. Revelations on the rise. In a basal lab alone with my mind, several theories they all refuse to find. I've been working on energy for a brand new day, but even in the crowd I've still been cast away. Alienated from the aids of added mentor in disguise. Ideas ahead of time, dismissed with narrow eyes. Benefactor boy, dreaming about the world you can't deploy. Changing the system, I treat it like a toy. Ideas misunderstood, but brilliance is his boy. Benefactor boy, can't you hear his voice? Talk to love 0 point, the points lost on them. Kevin structures crumbling from the same old stem. They laugh like I'm crazy, but I see it all so clear. Exploited labor, unheard, injustice burning ears. Fighting for a change in this wasteland of noise. But they call me foolish, wanting shed boys. Benefactor boy, dreaming about the world he can't deploy. Changing the system, but treated like a toy. Ideas misunderstood, but brilliance is his boy. Benefactor boy, can't you hear his voice? Chasing revolutions in the darkest nights. A dreamer with vision beneath the laughter and noise. A future so bright waiting for the right choice. Benefactor boy, dreaming about the world he can't deploy. Changing the system, but treated like a toy. Ideas misunderstood, but brilliance is his boy.
Alright, welcome back to Beneficence TV Live. Give me a second to situate myself. I have some free memberships to give out today, so if you are not a member, fear not, stick around, and you might win a free membership. We'll be giving away those memberships in a few minutes. Yes, so all you have to do is make sure that you have GIFs enabled in your chat settings. So in the chat, while you're watching the stream, go hit the 3 dots at the top, and it should say enable GIFs or something along that line. And we also have Paul here, Paul H, who's working on some amazing advancements with the Thunderstorm generator. How you doing, Paul? Well, it's great to have you here with us for today's interactive mini lab. We have a lot of exciting things to go over. But first, I wanted to give over those memberships. So, are you guys ready? Oh, it's okay. We have 2 chances. I have 10 of them to give away. We're going to give away 5 now and 5 at a later time in the stream, because I did promise last Free Energy Fridays to give these away and I forgot. So we're going to do that now, and let's see who won the memberships. We have Light Scene Within. Oh, it's okay. You'll have another chance. We'll give... Oh, yeah, it doesn't appear that you were one of the winners, Paul. I apologize, but we do have another 5 to give away. So during the next intermission, I'm going to do that as well. So stick around and hopefully you'll get one of those memberships. If not, I might just pay for it for you. I appreciate that. So let's jump into... Let me make sure my mic is... It's not too loud for everybody. Okay. All right. So good evening, fellow seekers, tinkerers, fringe explorers, and bold believers in the beautiful weirdness of forbidden science. Welcome to another transmission from the Benefactor. Tonight, we're diving into a hypothesis that might just turn the traditional understanding of power flow on its head. And guess what? You're in the lab with me. No gatekeepers here, no college degrees required, just curiosity, circuits, and some resonant vibes. First, I'd like to start with a short discussion for today's celebratory Quantum Day. Yes, it is Quantum Day, so happy World Quantum Day, everybody. Let's crack open a short but powerful topic that brushes under the rug in most physics textbooks. What am I talking about here? What really happened to Aether theory? Well, mostly got replaced by something called quantum field theory. You see, back in the 19th century, physicists believed in a medium called the aether, an invisible, all-pervasive substance that allowed light waves to travel through space. Sounded reasonable, after all. Waves need something to wave in, right? Well, then came Einstein's theory of relativity, which seemed to kill the ether. Space was now a vacuum, empty and absolute. Case closed? But not so fast. Let's jump ahead to the rise of quantum field theory, the backbone of modern physics. It tells us that the universe is actually made of fluctuating fields that fill all of space, even the so-called vacuum. Particles, they're just blips or ripples in those fields. Quantum fluctuations, they call it. Sound familiar? It should. The quantum vacuum is suspiciously close to the old idea of the aether, an underlying substrate permeating everything, carrying energy, motion, and even structure. Only now, it's cloaked in complex math and rebranded with modern terms. So was the aether ever really dead? Or did it just get a quantum makeover? Some would argue that we just traded in a poetic concept for an abstract one, confusing the map for the territory, as it were. What we call the quantum field today may very well be the aether, just with different PR. So this World Quantum Day question what has been sold to you as a replacement, and ask yourself, did we throw out the aether or just rename it? So we're going to, before we start the interactive mini lab, I'm going to go over some of my hypotheses. So let's dig into what we're covering tonight. Just what is synthetic AC? Well, in traditional systems, AC, or alternating current, is generated by mechanical means. Spin something in a magnetic field and get a nice sine wave. In our system, however, we're generating what I call a synthetic AC, or a synthetic sine wave, a waveform that emerges from resonance, switching harmonics, and field feedback, not from spinning copper. So think of it like this, and you'll see in the moment when I bust out into the interactive mini lab and show you on the oscilloscope. Think of our system like this. Energy in this system is choreography, not just horsepower. So there's a dance involved. The hypothesis is simple. When forward current and back EMF exist in harmonic sync, not opposition, something strange begins to happen when you achieve full system-wide resonance between all the components. You get a synthetic, self-stabilizing wave that behaves like AC on the macro scale, but isn't made the traditional way. We're seeing greater output than expected, voltage that wants to stick around after the coil's been turned off, and current that barely budges the meter, but still powers lights. Tonight's test is with a pre-driver experiment. Assuming my transistor gets here, I'm going to check Amazon in a minute to see where exactly it is. But we're introducing a second transistor, or that's my goal here tonight. If we don't get the transistor during the live stream, we'll, run some tests with the paradox box or something, and hopefully it'll get here by that time. Anyways, we're introducing a second transistor, a humble little BC547C. Not because it's beefy, but because it's fast. Faster switching means tighter wave control, smoother harmonics, and potentially a more tuned synthetic waveform. This method was recommended to me by a fellow YouTuber, MTech. So our questions for today are as follows. Can a fast switching pre-driver help stabilize the resonance in our system? Will it allow the main transistor to focus on amplification while the little guy handles timing? And can we tap into more efficiency by finally closing the loop in our system? I don't know. What do you think, Paul? You got any opinions? Exactly. Yes, sir. All right. So let's talk about why traditional meters can't really measure this. And as Paul would like to tell me, it's not just about input watts versus output watts anymore. So, spoiler alert, rectifying this wave actually kills the effect. Trying to force this resonant dance into a DC box is like trying to bottle a lightning storm. All you get is a jar full of ozone and regret. We need new ways to observe, not just measure this kind of energy. Rectifying it essentially destroys the synergy between the forward and the back EMF and doesn't give us an accurate depiction of the full power potential of the system. So why does this matter? Well, this isn't just a Joule thief modification, it's a new class of power systems entirely, where waveform, not just energy, is the product. If we can control this, stabilize it, and amplify it, we're in the early chapters of something the mainstream still calls impossible. And if you're here right now, you're a part of the story. You're a part of history. So grab your cherry Pepsi, which I'm about to do in a minute, multimeter, or just your curiosity, and let's fire up the lab. We're tuning the synthetic AC, experimenting live, and rewriting the rules of power as we go. Stay resonant. Yes, let's do it. So, okay, Paul, stay resonant, stay weird, and stay curious. That's what I say, at least. So, oh, I hear one of your kids in the background. Oh, they're the key to our future. Definitely. That's absolutely right. That's absolutely right. Now, I'll keep my cursing to a minimum now that I know your children are in the background. I'm sorry if I slip up. But just to close it up here, before we go into the interactive mini lab, regarding my synthetic AC hypothesis, I'm absolutely right to question traditional metrics in this instance. We're not dealing with a linear brute force system here where watts in equals watts out. We're working with a harmonic energy field, a synthetic waveform born out of constructive interference, resonance, and feedback, not just voltage times current. And as Paul would like to say, this might just be a living waveform. So Wow. You know, I might not see the full picture and see exactly what you see yet, but it is acting very, very odd in my system, and it does warrant further investigation. And I know Malcolm Bendel emphasizes that if you are creating plasmoids, which we may very well be doing in these systems, they are living entities. So that goes right up to, you know, match with all the other theories involved in the etheric medium. So trying to rectify this wave is like trying to bottle a lightning storm, like I said earlier. You don't get the charge, just the container. So essentially, trying to measure this energy in the traditional way effectively kills the very thing that makes it special in the first place. This is where I'm going to need your guys' help, okay? This is a call to action here. I need you to help me think outside the box, like Paul is doing. Okay, we're trying to devise a way that we can measure this energy without destroying it in the process. And while I get set up, maybe Paul can summarize his idea for this with the rodent coil while we still have him here on the line. Hold on, Paul. Hold on, Paul. The audio's not working for you, so give me a second. I'm gonna change the settings here real quick. They're not. Yeah, they can't. No, it's not you. It's actually. Try saying something now. No, hold on. We're still having issues. Give me a second. Nope. Oh, hold on. Say something?
Are you strong?
Oh, there we go. Sorry about that, everybody. Always a glitch in the system. So we were going to have Paul summarize his idea while I get set up here.
Okay, so I believe the rodent coil is a very advanced transmitter and receiver of not traditional scalar EMF waves that you think, but more like living conscious frequency harmonic sentient based. And I think that its ability is not as a 0 point energy device to get more energy than what you put into it. I think it's more about harmonizing with the golden ratio and the phi, and due to the geometric structure of the rodent coil, it has this special ability. And I think that is what we need to really focus on. Not taking energy from the system, but finessing it, finding the remembrance of it, slash the maybe the variable pressure, like a barometer, the voltage potential of the system. And I think we can use a Tesla radiant energy coil to pick up the EMF generated from the rodent coil, and then use a Bedini flyback circuit to capture that radiant energy. So then we can dump that into a load, a battery. I think that is the key. Does that help summarize it?
Yes, thank you, Paul. Sorry, I'm just checking Amazon to see if the package arrived.
Yes. And I think the coils of a coil is the rodent coil. That is Ezekiel's wheel, and that is the key to unlocking plasma potential. It is with vibration, frequency, and harmonics just like all of the greats and the giants that stood on the shoulders before us have done the same thing. It's mimicking nature. You can see it anytime you have counter rotating vortexes. You can harvest that energy. It's the Shiva Lingam, literally.
So the package didn't arrive yet. In the meantime, we're just going to go over the 4 characteristics that you're going to look out for identifying this waveform if you're replicating my experiments. I'm going to go over all the basics, and then if it still hasn't arrived by that time, we'll probably just do some paradox box testing, because that is also on the list today.
Awesome.
Check this out. This is so cool. A second, I had to take the camera off the tripod because I wanted to get a closer look at this.
At least you have a camera.
Yes, this is a brand new camera. It's very nice, but I haven't figured out how to wirelessly use it yet, so it's still tethered to the USB, so I might not be able to get as close as I'd like, but we can still show you the 4 characteristics of the waveform like this. So let me see if I can put this on another tripod. I do have another one over here. Where is it? All right, you guys should be able to see a little bit. Now, it doesn't matter, the first characteristic of this waveform is it doesn't matter where you put the probe on your system, you should get the same waveform or throughout the entire system, roughly, with maybe slight variations or disturbances. But overall, you should get the same 3 defining characteristics on the oscilloscope, which are as follows. When you zoom in real close, you should see this, what I call, or have been calling, the 0-point convergence, where it looks like energy is just spewing out like a fire hose on both ends of some kind of convergence point. Okay, that's indicator number 1. Indicator number 2, you zoom out a little bit and you get what I call nested harmonics. Okay, and we're going to pause this and I can show you it's just one single wave bouncing off of itself, self-oscillating. Very cool. Just making sure the mic is still active.
It's pretty cool.
Yes, it's really cool. So we're going to play this. And then the final defining characteristic is that when you zoom out on the macro scale even farther, all that chaos seems to clear up into an almost perfect sine wave. Now there's distortion on the ends, and we're hoping to smooth out those distortions on the end with the pre-driver transistor, with the faster switching speed. But you can see it's producing clearly a synthetic AC on the macro scale when it is anything but an alternating current. And it doesn't matter if we have this on AC coupling or DC coupling. It will show us the same exact thing.
What's that called? What's that called? Deconstructive harmonics?
Or constructive harmonics, something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
And
Yeah.
as I'll show you, it doesn't matter where you put the probe on the system. We'll put it on the battery. Look at that. The same. It's the same. And we're going to hook up a second probe, and I'll show you. It's weird because it doesn't happen on the positive. But if you hook up the negative and compare the negative terminal of the battery to the negative output, you clearly get way more energy on the oscilloscope. Not on the positive, which is odd. I don't understand it. Maybe I don't know enough about metrology, but I think it's very telling. So we're going to do that now. So it's hooked up to the positive battery terminal. We're going to switch it to the negative, and I'm going to put another probe. The purple probe is going to be hooked up to the negative output on the power rail, where the lightning thief output is. So something changed in our system. And as I've noted before, that minor changes in the system or variations can either throw it off or make it more efficient. And what we're seeing now is not what I was seeing when I recorded this last night, or a couple nights ago rather. It is on, unless I'll double check it. Maybe it's on the positive. Let me double check. But it is on the both negatives, and I am getting less output than the terminal, which is interesting because it wasn't showing that way last time I did this experiment. So let me just double check my wires and see if I can mess with it a little bit to see if I can get a different reading.
Just a thought. Do you think the humidity in the room makes a difference?
No, it could, because it is a different humidity in here. Specifically, it just got a lot warmer outside. I don't need to run the heater. I might actually turn on the AC in a second. So, you know, and also it depends on the connections. If the connections aren't fully, you know, like, or if the jumper wires aren't fully connected, sometimes they can give you a misleading reading or whatever. But I'm going to double check everything and put it on the positive side as well, just to be sure. But it is interesting. I'm going to try probing it in a couple different places to see what kind of readings I get. You know, I have 4 probes. I don't know if I want to overload the system that much right now, but I do have 4 probes that I can use.
4 probes are always better than 1.
See how closely they are in sync. See that? It might be a little hard to tell. Let's see if I can get any closer. But yeah, it's so close that you can barely see the outline of the other one because they're matching so, so tightly. They're almost perfectly matching.
That's a good thing.
Yes, it is a good thing. And see here now, I think it was the autofocus. I don't know. Here now it looks like the purple is a little stronger. Because now we're not seeing... Again, I don't know how much you guys can see because it's not as close as I'd like it to be on the camera. I might have to actually record some more videos after the stream. But it looks like now the yellow is in the center of the wave, and the purple, which is the output, is slightly... You can just slightly see the purple on the outline of the yellow, which means it looks slightly larger. But I'd have to... Let me pause it. Let me see. Yeah, I'd have to really pause it and measure it. So... Oh, scale limit. Yeah, see, now it does look like the purple is more. Let's try the positive rail. Could just be a case of focus, focusing in correctly. Oh, wow. What the heck's going on here? There's no...
What if you added a diode or a resistor between the connections?
So I do
Or a
have a
light
bunch
bulb.
of... I do have a resonance relay, a diode, a high-speed diode on the positive rail already. I have a couple extra if you have any suggestions on where else we can put them. Oh, wow, look at that. Yeah, now... That is interesting. The waveforms don't seem to be matching entirely. I have one on the positive and one on the positive output and one on the negative battery. The waveforms look like they're a little off. Huh. Let me take this off the negative rail and put on the positive. Huh. Okay. Well, that's interesting. When we zoom in, we're getting a lot more purple, which is the output. Right now it's on the positive rail. Yeah, it might just be about focusing and then learning how to calculate the actual... how to determine the actual voltage and all that. So, this is a good starting point. It's showing us that the system is in resonance, though. I'm hoping that transistor comes so we can try the pre-driver function. And I'll move the camera to the workbench, or try to at least, and we'll hook up the pre-driver to this one right here, which is using the breadboard, not the PCB. So we should be able to modify it like that. And that one is on there. Let's put one on the negative of the battery and one on the base. Yeah, see again, we have the purple slightly outperforming or slightly above the yellow signal. The purple is the output. The yellow is our input on the negative terminal of the battery. And we have the other probe hooked up to the base of the coil, the base which is hooked up to the base of the transistor. So, very, very interesting. Remember, the three defining characteristics that you're going to be looking for outside of, the same waveform in all areas of your system are the synthetic AC right here that you see on the macro scale. When you zoom in a little bit more, you see these nested harmonics. Again, it's one signal that's bouncing off of itself. And then when you zoom in even further, you get what I can only describe as a 0-point convergence. So just in case you guys want to replicate this and do some experimenting with this kind of energy. I think it's been 40 minutes. Yeah, I think we'll do a quick break. And I'm going to go check my mail again and see if we got that transistor. Paul, is there anything that you'd like to talk about before we go to a break?
I'm just thinking when you're doing electrolysis and you have your silver in the water and you're hooked up directly to a battery, you get too much current going into it. You get colloidals that sequester out, they precipitate basically. And I'm wondering if you could use a resistor between the voltmeter and the base of the coil, just as you would using a light bulb, like a 12-volt light bulb, in line on the positive when you're doing electrolysis, so you don't have as much current running into the system. That makes sense?
Yeah, no, I haven't thought about that. Interesting. And how would we do that?
I would put a resistor, like a 12, an actual light bulb, something that actually gives off light, that uses that radiant energy or tunes it, just like your Joule thief, but you're using a light bulb and the resistance of that to harmonize and coherent the system, so you don't have as much current feeding into it.
Sorry, my mic's a little messed up. Interesting. Yeah, I will consider doing that. There's also a lot of different experiments I wanted to run with the paradox box if we have time as well. I have a couple of different configurations. And during the break, we're going to take a break in a second, and during the break, I'll give away those 5 free memberships. So stick around, and I'm hoping Paul gets one of them. We'll do it right now in a second when I transition over to the intermission screen.
I still haven't found that tab yet on the app, on the Discord, but It's not a big deal. I will support you any way I can, Ben.
Oh, you
For
talking about?
membership.
Oh, for the gifting?
Yeah, it's all great.
No. It's on YouTube. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. So if
That's
you go,
where I was looking.
yeah, if you go into the chat on YouTube, where my stream is, there should be a little option in the settings.
Okay. I might take your offer up on that. That way I can talk to you when you're doing those member only live streams.
Yeah, and to be honest, I don't know if I want to do members only. I think I'm going to keep it like this, where it's open to the public, but only members can chat in.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
but yeah, no, definitely. See if you can get to that option and see if you can enable it, because in a couple of seconds we'll give away those memberships.
Okay, members only mode. Oh, allow gifts.
There you go.
Yep, there you go.
All right. So stay tuned, everybody. We're going to be giving away 5 free memberships in about 3 seconds.
Oh, cool.
My fellow Americans, I want to talk to you about something that has been a topic of much debate and unfortunately too much misinformation. For decades, we've been told that our future
Mysteries unwrapped and shown.
Ah, damn. I don't think you got one of the memberships, Paul.
just a little foundation. Feel the pulse, divine sensation. Everyone needs just a little salvation.
Majestic moments in cosmic flight, holding on to stars of starlight. There's a light within the dark waves, guided by echoes of ancient ways. Unify our reflection, with every beat there's a connection. Feel the pulse, divine sensation. Everyone feels the goodness of our invitation. There's a light within the dark waves, guided by echoes of ancient ways. Unify our reflection, with every beat there's a connection. sensation.
This video was bang on brilliant stuff. I'll give it a shout out in my next video. I've forwarded it to Malcolm to check out too.
The viewers have spoken.
What an amazing documentary. Thanks for producing it.
Never seen this all tied together so well. Gonna share the heck out of it. Bravo and thank you.
Divine Science is officially a hit.
Amazing stuff, very nicely presented. New sub who can't consume your content quick enough. Great video, dude. Keep at it, you are doing the good work.
You did a great job putting this all together. It's a great overview, goes into amazing depth at times, so it's interesting for the larger swath of people. Well played, sir.
Okay, so I didn't sleep last night because I watched this 3 times and binged the rest of the channel. You have fantastic instincts for piecing concepts together. Almost every section was something I was already familiar with in a different context, and this documentary was the thread connecting them all.
Join us on a journey into a place of hidden knowledge. A place where science is stranger than fiction.
You might have heard a Joule Thief circuit hum to you before, but have you ever heard a Joule Thief circuit actually sing to you? This is energy recycling. 15.5 hours of continuous power compared to just 2.5 hours off of a standard inverter. While this traditional inverter already maxes out at 88.5% efficiency, we're breaking every limit with my Vortex coil system. This standard DC to AC inverter will only run for 2.5 hours on 12.2 watt hours of energy. But my system provides energy for a whopping 15.5 hours off of the same 12.2 watt hours. That's over 6 times more efficient. Not only that, this system will keep powering my lights well past 12 volts on the battery. This isn't just an upgrade, It's a new industrial revolution. This is the energy of the future, and you are powering it. Imagine a world where energy is infinite, where the power to fuel our lives doesn't come from burning the past, but from harnessing the future. This is the breakthrough that changes everything. 0-point energy, the power of the universe itself, unlocked, and you are the reason it is possible. While the world sleeps, you're awake. While others talk, we are building. This isn't just technology, it's a revolution. And it's happening right now, powered by you. So thank you so much for joining me here on Beneficence TV and supporting our goals in open sourcing 0-point energy technology and disseminating all forms of forbidden knowledge.
Changing the system, treat it like a toy. Ideas misunderstood, but brilliance is his boy. Benefactor boy, can't you hear his voice? Treated like a toy. Ideas misunderstood, but brilliance is his point. Benefactor boy, can't you hear his voice? Talk to love 0-point, the points lost on them. Kevin structures crumbling from the same old Sam. They laugh like I'm crazy, but I see it all so clear. Exploited labor, unheard, injustice burning ears. Fighting for a change in this wasteland of noise. But they call me foolish words, ancient boys. Benefactor boy, dreaming about the world begin to boy. Changing the system, but treated like a toy. Ideas misunderstood, but brilliance is his point. Benefactor boy, can't you hear his voice? In the darkest nights, a dreamer with vision beneath the laughter and noise. A future so bright, waiting for the right choice. Benefactor boy, dreaming about the world he can't deploy. Changing the system, but treated like a toy. Ideas misunderstood, but brilliance is his point. Benefactor boy, can't you hear his voice?
There we go. Welcome back to Beneficence TV Live. This is our synthetic AC interactive mini lab. We still don't have the transistors in yet, so we're going to continue our testing with the paradox box. For those of you who don't know what the paradox box is, I'll grab it in a second for the visual, but it is basically two magnets glued with each north pole facing each other, which is a very interesting configuration. How Michel Morel did this, I have no idea. He used some kind of strong adhesive. And then this north by north magnet, the super north, is then wound with a bifilar coil around it. So this should lead to some interesting effects. I'm curious what the O-scope readings will be with the different configurations, seeing as last time it was hard to gauge what the paradox box was actually doing to the system. But now that we know how the system works and we can see it clearly on the oscilloscope, now I think is the best time to actually get an inside look and see if anything, or if the paradox box is affecting the system at all. If it's affecting it in a positive way or a negative way. So we should be able to see all the effects of the paradox box on the oscilloscope, and even if we're getting any kind of gains, that should be apparent as well. All right. So we have a couple of different configurations that we can use the paradox box with. Let me go grab it. So this is the paradox box. As you can see, it's wound with a multifilar or a bifilar wrapped around it. So we have 4 leads to work with, a start and finish for channel A and a start and finish for channel B, just like our rodent coil system. I'm curious to see what the Nunez method would look like with this paradox box. So that's the method that I'm going to be utilizing today, is the Nunez method. Unless we don't really see anything interesting, then I'll switch it up. And to remind you all what the Nunez method is, it is an open circuit method that was devised, at least as far as we're aware, by a man named Daniel Nunez of One Stop Energies. We're not going to be using the stereo amp method, but this is the basic idea, is that you want to have each channel connected through the load. So you can see the connections are a little opposite of what you would traditionally do. And as always, there is a higher quality higher quality picture available in my Phase 2 guide that is available right now. I don't know if I put it in the description of this video, but it is in the description of most of my live streams. So if it's not in this one, just go back to a earlier live stream that I did, maybe Friday or something, and it should be there. So we have a couple of different configurations we can try. First, I'm going to try starting out by putting this paradox box in series with the positive and then the negative of the output of the lightning thief. There's another configuration we can also try, which is putting it in parallel with the vortex coil, specifically before it goes into the lightning thief circuit, which is kind of an interesting configuration, and I'm excited to see if that will have any kind of effect. But for now, let's see how this thing is going to affect the signal, if at all. And what we're going to do here is we're going to take the end of channel A and connect it to the start of channel B. And this is our open circuit method. So these are labeled. And start. Gotta make sure I got the right wires. And oh, yep, okay, good. So we're going to take the end of channel A, and we're going to connect it to the start of channel B. Start, which is right here. And we're just going to alligator clip that together. I'll get my alligator clip in a minute. And twist it first. Just give it a little twisteroo. I think Sean even recommended that. He does that. He twists the wires together before he solders them or whatever.
Yes, always twist the positive, negative wires together. Supposed to do something with the blocking the background EMF from interfering.
Interesting. Let me find my alligator clips, because since I hooked up or set up the new lab, everything is kind of discombobulated. Alright. So we're just going to clip the end of channel A and the start of channel B together. We'll twist it first and then we'll clip it. Just like so. That leaves us 2 ends to work with. And knowing me, if something doesn't work, we'll, you know, probably switch the start and the end and try different configurations and, you know, see if we can get any kind of effect. So, but for now, let's just read how this affects the system, if at all. Right, I got it hooked up in series of the positive output after the resonance relay diode, and I got the probe hooked up to the end of the end of the coil. So right before the power rail. I think it's interesting. I didn't even note, but this isn't on at all. And look, it's picking up a signal. What? 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 It's not on. We're not on yet. Why are you picking up a signal? Hold on. Let's try a magnet. I might not be strong enough. Let's try neodymium. No effect. That's weird. Oh, okay. Well, we'll run with it. And turn it on. Oh my. Dude, it fucked up the signal. Sorry, I'm sorry to curse. It did. It messed up the... It's modulating the signal to the ambient signal we got when the coil was off. What? What the hell is going on here? Oh, look at that! Holy shit! You still have the convergence, the 0 point when zoomed in, but this is a different kind of harmonic. Wow, look at that. I don't think we're in synth AC territory anymore. Not entirely. It's gotten distorted. The signal is not smooth anymore. Wow, look at that. Let's pause it. Oh, wow. Let me see if I can zoom in a little bit with the camera. It's hard to see, but there's two of them. Or it appears to be two, but it's just one ringing off each other's, ringing off itself or something. So, in comparison, our nested harmonics for the other system, without the paradox box, just measuring it traditionally like we did earlier, we get all these different chaotic nested harmonics. They look like they're chaotic, at least, and when you zoom out, they form like the smooth sine wave. This is a little bit different, but we're still getting some kind of nested harmonic, but it's not chaotic, it's more organized. And this is interesting. So it's an organized at the micro scale like this, and it's kind of just doubled. It's no longer like here and there all over the screen like it was earlier with the reading. This is a clear like doubling, or tripling actually. I see a triple. Yeah, so it's tripled itself. And it's a clean triple. So it screwed up the signal, but it did something interesting. I don't know if we can work with this though. I'm not sure what it did. Let's try probing the rest of the system. So we have the probe right on the base, between the coil and the transistor base. It's changed the resonance of the entire system, I think. Look, okay, so it's... Yeah, it's changed the resonance of the entire system. Let's probe the battery and see if it changed that. Holy shit. That's what I'm saying. Like, the slightest kind of adjustment can throw off the whole synthetic AC component in your system here. So when you're testing with the Lightning Thief, just keep that in mind. Yeah, look, we're not getting a smooth sine wave anymore. This is the same kind of waveform we get when the coil is off from the ambient. I'm sure it's useful for something. This is probably a different kind of synthetic AC, which is why I categorized synthetic AC generally and gave the waveform we're finding here more specific resonant pulsed waveform classification, because I kind of anticipated there might be more than one kind of synthetic AC, or maybe more than one method on how to get there, but I didn't expect the paradox box would do this. So that's very interesting. Okay. But when we zoom in all the way, we still get that convergence, unlike the lumen lamp. So look at that. We still get it's a different looking, but it still looks like it's converging, only it's more smooth and less chaotic. That's, that might not be a convergence. What is that? Yeah, maybe. It could be the same or similar 0-point event. I don't know. It's hard to tell. That looks crazy. That's asymmetrical right there. If that's a convergence or a 0-point event, that's an asymmetrical convergence. You know what? I really want to take the camera off, but it's tethered to the computer. I need to find a way to use the Wi-Fi mode next time we stream this, because that's important. I didn't realize how crappy the camera would be this far away. Won't zoom any farther, so. All right. Okay, well, let's try a different configuration. Actually, honestly, I'm starting to think that this thing is going to throw off the waveform no matter what we do with it. Let's try the in parallel with the coil. Let's try putting it in parallel with the base and the yellow wire. So the yellow wire is the start of channel B, and the black wire, the base, is the end of channel A. So again, we're putting the paradox box in parallel with those two wires. So let's do that and see what happens. And stick the probe on that little output to see if we still get that ambient. That was cool. Are we getting it? Yeah, we're still getting the ambient signal. That's pretty cool. So the coil's off right now. We're going to hook this up in parallel. Or at least I thought it was off. Turn it on, make sure it works. Okay, good. Interesting. This light, I don't know if you guys could hear it, was actually humming when it's not now without the paradox box. But putting the paradox box on made that light hum. So it was ringing some kind of harmonic within the system. You know, it was changing the entire system. So that's interesting. So we'll try one more experiment here before we go to a quick break, and then I don't know if the transistor doesn't arrive by then. I might just do that in a different stream and do the closing comments. Sorry about that. I forgot to look at the chat. So Elias wants to know what frequency. So we're gonna take a look at the frequency. The frequency was actually around 20,000 or 20,000 hertz. I believe that was the frequency we were getting. When we get that sine wave. So when our system is in resonance. But oh my God, is that Walter? Walter, the groundhog who lives under my porch. Let's see. Oh my God, everybody. Walter emerges. Unless that's not Walter. Maybe that's Walter's girlfriend. I don't know. They're out and about, though. I haven't seen Walter. I think that's his girlfriend. All right. Anyways, you were talking about the frequency. And usually we get 20 kilohertz. So yes, it's actually ideal. But the problem is, and we can see this when we zoom out on the oscilloscope, is that it's distorted slightly on the edges. And there's room for improvement, right? There's room to make that sine wave smoother. And one theory I have is using a pre-driver transistor, specifically the one we're waiting for from Amazon. If we can get that in, I'll try that tonight. But if not, we'll leave that for another live stream. Yes, Walter the disabled groundhog. He is missing the ability to use his back legs due to probably, what it looks like, in my opinion, some kind of predator. And the only predator that would do that to a groundhog and not actually kill it and let it get away is a dog on a leash. So somebody let their dog maul this groundhog and just left him to die, which kind of pisses me off. But there's all sorts of irresponsible dog owners around here. And specifically, they have aggressive breeds or breeds that can be aggressive if they're trained improperly. And I see that all the time. It's a damn shame. You know, just give me a damn terrier. I want a smart dog. Yes, he doesn't have the use of both the back legs, yeah. So he drags himself, and it's terrible to watch, but it's also, humbling in a way, because it shows you that life finds a way. And he has, survived at least 2 years that I'm aware of in that state, which is incredible. But the last year I was doing my part trying to feed him. He would come up and borrow a cup of nuts from me every day, sometimes twice a day. When we fattened him up, so he should be fine for the winter. So I'm just waiting to see if I see him. He does appear to have a girlfriend. Maybe his girlfriend's looking after him. I don't know. Only time will tell. Yes, life always finds a way. So you can actually see Walter in action if you go to my shorts and look up Walter Energy. So I was doing a fun experiment where I hooked up an Arduino to a set of lights and used the rodent coil to power it. And we were playing the light game where you go to the arcade and they had that cyclical light game. We pushed a button and stopped the lights. I made like a rudimentary version of that, and Walter just decided to come up on the live stream when I was demonstrating it. So he made an appearance, a cameo, and I recorded it, and it's on there, called Walter Energy, if you guys want to check out Walter. Back to the coil and frequencies. Yeah, so the coil, it is resonating at around 20 kilohertz. And we want it to stabilize. So my theory was using a pre-driver transistor to kind of take the load off of the switching requirement from the main transistor and let that just handle the amplification, right? And we're going to take the load off by driving the base of that transistor with this BC5 transistor. It's faster switching, but it's only able to handle about 100 milliamps of current. But that's fine, because we're not getting more than 80 milliamps anyways, and that's AC current. So I don't know. Well, we'll see. You know, the DC, maybe the DC will fry it. I have no idea because the DC is over 100 milliamps, I believe. Either way, we'll try it and see what happens. I have a feeling that this method could be what we use to smooth out that signal, because any other component that we add at this point or change at this point is really just going to disrupt that resonance between the system. You know, we have a pretty good dance going on between all the components here, and we don't really want to interrupt that dance too much unless we're sure that it's going to enhance the dance instead of you know, destroy it. So that's where we're at right now. And when we have system-wide resonance between all the components in your system, you'll see that very tiny, minuscule changes in the system can either lead to very big improvements or very big destructive effects, or, you know, the opposite of improving. Basically, it can either make or break your system. It's really that delicate, right? Alright, some good news is the transistor appears to be one stop away, so we might actually see this in action today. Interesting that I didn't even know that this was possible until the other day when I was looking up, you know, or trying to be, you know, looking up videos on YouTube trying to get inspired on how to, you know, kind of modify this, you know, learn some stuff from other YouTube channels. And I came across this guy, M-Tech, and he kind of simplified it, and it just, like, something clicked in my head, and I was like, yeah, that's why. So we have a fast-switching transistor, but the problem with this one is it's beefy. It's meant to handle up to 8 amps. So it's beefy, and it's kind of like heats up, so there's a little bit of loss, right? There's room for improvement. And I think that if we can take the load off of that transistor in terms of right now, the main MJE13009 transistor, dubbed Charmander, the Charmander transistor is actually amplifying and switching. So what we want it to do is just amplify and focus on the amplification, and take that requirement, that strain off of the main transistor by putting a second primary pre-driver transistor on its base. And this is the faster switching but lower amperage BC5 that I was mentioning earlier. Now, if this theory pans out to be true, this could be what we use to stabilize that sine wave a little bit. Maybe just a little bit, maybe a lot. But if it works, I have a feeling that we are also going to see a stabilization of the frequency as well. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, when I'm looking on the oscilloscope, I'm seeing, yeah, 20,000 hertz or 20 kilohertz, but it fluctuates, and it's not supposed to do that, okay? We don't want the system to be in fluctuation, or at least too much, right? We want it to stick around 20 kilohertz. But the fact that it's doing that tells me that there's more room for improvement, right? We need to figure out a way to stabilize it. It might be the transistor, and the transistor in the system does make or break it. As I've mentioned in previous live streams, the MJ, or the MJ, what is it? The one that Michelle is using for the lumen lamp. Here, let me look it up for this. No, that's using the wrong one. The MJL 21194. So this is the one that's in the lumen lamp. It's actually a lot bigger than the MJE 13009. And this is why if you put this transistor in our system right now instead of the MJE 13009, you're not going to get that smooth sine wave. You're not going to get the same efficiency. It barely runs. So I think MTech is onto something with the smaller transistors. We want to conserve as much power as possible, right? And a lot of that power is being wasted through the transistor. Specifically in heat. So if we can utilize a method to take the strain off the main transistor and introduce a pre-driver component for the base of that transistor, I think it could yield some very interesting results. Specifically because it's faster switching. And something that MTech kind of like reminded me when he was talking about and emphasizing the need for faster switching transistors over, current potential, the amount of current that can actually go through the transistor. You want it faster switching because at that point in the component, especially with a pre-driver component, I think this aligns with the idea that, faster switching or higher frequencies can be converted into current. So when you have a high frequency, you can convert that potential, the voltage potential into raw current. Got the I can't read that. I have to... Elias got a new transistor. Let me pull it up on the laptop. I can't. My eyes are terrible. There we go. So he said, Elias the Cool said, I got the 2N3904 NPN. Yes, that's what we're dealing with, 2 NPNs. He said it goes up to 1 megahertz. Holy crap. We're going to have to look into that. So the faster switching we can get, the better, in my opinion. Because the higher the frequency, the more you can, the more you can convert that potential into current. I guess is the idea. But we're about to find out. So let me check the package. We might go to a quick break here just so I can set up. Yeah, let me do that actually. So we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to try that pre-driver test. So I'll see if I can move the camera to the workbench. If not, you'll just have to work with me for a few moments while I connect it. You might have heard a dual peak circuit hum to you before, but have you ever...
This video was bang on brilliant stuff. I'll give it a shout out in my next video. I've forwarded it to Malcolm to check out too.
The viewers have spoken.
What an amazing documentary. Thanks for producing it.
Never seen this all tied together so well. Gonna share the heck out of it. Bravo, and thank you.
Divine Science is officially a hit.
Amazing stuff, very nicely presented. New sub who can't consume your content quick enough. Great video, dude. Keep at it, you are doing the good work.
You did a great job putting this all together. It's a great overview, goes into amazing depth at times, so it's interesting for the larger swath of people. Well played, sir.
Okay, so I didn't sleep last night because I watched this 3 times and binged the rest of the channel. You have fantastic instincts for piecing concepts together. Almost every section was something I was already familiar with in a different context, and this documentary was the thread connecting them all.
Join us on a journey into a place of hidden knowledge. A place where science is stranger than fiction.
In a world where innovation is stifled by greed and corruption, there lies a hidden truth that could revolutionize our way of life.
Lenny, what are you doing? Are you seriously pitching a new show right now? I didn't authorize this. My God, only 5 minutes into your new position as co-host, and you're already adding to my tight schedule.
Yes, sir, I manage that schedule. But I did notice you have an entire 2 days available during your week.
Wait, you're not talking about Saturday and Sunday, are you?
Of course, sir. You have 2 whole days where you're free to work on new content.
Lenny, those are my days off.
It's okay, sir. I know you'll manage just fine. I have faith in you.
Do robots have faith?
I do. I have faith that you won't screw it up again.
You know what? It's fine. Go ahead. I'll just build my cold fusion Lego set some other time.
It's PON certified.
But I'm not telling them about my idea for a thunderstorm toilet. I'm gonna keep that baby close to my chest.
You know, that just sounds wrong.
It's a good idea. A toilet capable of turning any toxic human waste into, well, it turns into petroleum jelly.
Why petroleum jelly, sir?
You know what? I'm not sure. I don't think it's calibrated correctly.
Enough is enough. The world is at a breaking point. Catastrophic climate change, biosphere collapse, and a global energy crisis have been met with apathy, denial, and despair. The phrase unidentified flying object is a deliberately obfuscating term. What it really is an alternative energy and propulsion device. This is the real reason for the secrecy. These technologies, if they were disclosed, would end fossil fuels, pollution, and poverty overnight, and usher in a new era of abundance, freedom, and peace. Instead, they have been kept secret for over 100 years.
The more powerful the agency, the more powerful the group, the more powerful the cartel, the more they will resort not only to legal means, but to extra legal means to suppress their competition.
I said pretty early on, the problem is suppression. It wasn't really how do I make a free energy machine. It's how do I not get suppressed? Because what's the point?
Microscopic ball lightnings that when they discharge are tapping into that 0-point energy field and creating the motive force.
Boom! That's why the concussion from the thunderclap is so huge. There's this huge amount of energy that's actually sourced from the vacuum energy. All the dots connected. This is what's happening, right? So we need to make the thunderclap engine.
Imagine a future where clean, sustainable energy is not just a dream, but a reality. Discover the countless untold stories of free energy devices and the relentless battle against those who seek to suppress them for their own gain.
Black shelving. So someone comes along, they offer you $20 million for your device, it's a corporation, they put it on a shelf. Boom.
This power is something I have given my life for you the people.
Uncover the shocking tactics used by energy industries to control the narrative and maintain their grip on power.
You don't interfere with the big
business, they still have those 50-year leases on the lines and all the power transformers.
The Environmental Protection Agency is a bit of a dictatorial police agency.
Shadowy government with its own Air Force, its own Navy, its own fundraising mechanism, and the ability to pursue its own ideas of the national interest, free from all checks and balances, and free from the law itself.
This is real, usable power. It's stable. It is not transient. It is not noise. Behind the lamps, that little box is putting out all of that power, well over 500 watts, and yet it is receiving less than 1/3 of a milliwatt of input power. The rest of that power is coming out of the surging energy of the vacuum, and this little box that you see right here, solid state, no moving parts, is the vacuum triode that's doing this very practical and historical work.
But indeed, it put out more energy than it took in. He was shot at once with a silenced rifle from about 300 yards. It reads like a James Bond movie, but it's real.
There are men here that said they're FBI, and they got black vans, and they're taking all this equipment. What should I do?
It's called capture, where they try to rationalize away this problem and everything's fine.
From manipulation of patent authorities to infiltration of government agencies, the truth is stranger than fiction. But amidst the darkness, a glimmer of hope emerges in the form of renegade scientists and inventors who refuse to be silenced.
There is absolutely no question that T. Henry Morey had a system that produced about 50 kilowatts out of a 55-pound box.
In the shadows of capitalism's dark secrets, join us on a thrilling new show. Get ready to be inspired, enraged, and empowered as we delve into the benefactor's guide to free energy devices.
Only on Beneficence TV.
In grand form. Before we go to the other devices, this is a component which shows up on some of the devices. Okay. And can you read the reading on it?
Give me just a moment here.
I'll bring it even closer if you want so that you can actually read it. The reason I want you to read it is because calculate the input which the manufacturer specifies.
Okay, go ahead.
And then calculate the output which the manufacturer puts on there for that same amount of voltage. And you'll see immediately that this thing is putting out more energy than it was put into it.
So
the manufacturer actually states the input and the output, and it's on the label, and they have tested it, or they would not have put it on there.
So it exists.
Here's an over-unity device looking right at you.
Okay.
And there are a lot of them that are that way if you bother to calculate the input and the output.
Great. Okay.
In her lab, my dust cracks the code tonight. Oh yeah, that's true. Wires and circuits that shine in neon lights. Oh yeah, seen you creating power from the air. These smiles and delights. Oh yeah. Mike does it right. Hey. Mike does all my keys to one. Teaching us knowledge, lighting the sun. Trumpeting his legacy alive is his. Mike does knows we're his biggest friends. Down in the basement, secrets start to glow. Oh yeah. With Nathan and Lulu in the show. Oh, brilliant team. Mike came from Faraday. We're letting knowledge flow. Energy streams. Mike does all my keys to one. Teaching us knowledge, lighting the sun. Trumpeting his legacy alive is his. Mike does knows we're his biggest fans. Years of thought, bringing dreams to life, turning theories into electric light. Mike and us, a journey to ignite. Oh yeah. We've reached new heights. Hey. Mike does all my keys to one. Teaching us knowledge, lighting the sun. Trumpeting his legacy alive is his. Mike does knows we're his biggest fans.
In the lab, Gerald's working night and day. Mystic gadgets in magnetic ballet. Circles of power aligning destiny's way. Running those rings, they defy gravity. Critics working out, they don't bother heat. In his domain, Gerald sets the world free. Lord of the rings, pretty strong. Proving the currents, they be wrong. Electromagnetic symphony. Gerald, he crafts destiny. Free electronic cheats from his fingertips. Inspiration starting top of scripts. Geometric secrets, this guy can't flip. Bunker King in his rebel stead. Building up for the world again. lighting up the dark, igniting every zen. Lord of the Rings, really strong. Perpendicular, take me wrong. Electromagnetic symphony. Terror only crafts destiny. Lord of the Rings, really strong. Perpendicular, take me wrong. Electromagnetic symphony. Terror only crafts destiny.
In a lab with dreams ignite, Lulu's mind is taking flight. Bouncing equations, there's a plan she designs. Unlocking secrets where the cosmos aligns. I say let's reach the stars with knowledge as our guide. In this universe we're tracing our destinies collide. Knowledge, wisdom, a peek in the dark. Juggling studies and like igniting a spark. Every calculation, every moment so grand. She's building the future with her guiding hand. Every shift she's closer to the night. Family warmth she finds. Strength to fight. I say let's reach the stars with knowledge as our guide. In this universe we're tracing our destinies collide. Through every challenge she won't lose sight. Her passion shines, a star in the night. With every step she's paving the way. In the dance of science she'll always stay. I say let's reach the stars with knowledge as our guide. In this universe we're tracing our destinies collide. The future stars, the biggest hit all night. Our take is the light of the stars. I say let's reach the stars with knowledge as our guide. In this universe we're tracing
In a town down south where the fireflies glow, there's a man named Michael with a vision to show. Billy goes to go, he's got the spark, dreaming of a future that'll light up the dark. But on the other side, Bill Nye's on the rise, because that old chart sees cut down all the lies. And it just fits, it's all in the map. You can't pull from the ether, you're just chasing a path. But oh, Michael's rising like a morning sun. With the power of ether, he will be outdone. Now stand up and shout, let the truth be affirmed. Feel the energy flow, let's change the world. In the heart of a laugh, the tension was thick. Skeptics gathered round the table ready to pick. Joe shows proof and let the taste clear. And I find the stream, you're just chasing a spin. But Michael smiled wide with fire in his eyes. Watch as I spin, let the naysayers cry. Girl spin fast and a heart full of fight. I'll show you the power that's hidden inside. Oh, Michael's rising like the morning sun. With the power of ether, he will be outdone. Well, stand up and shout, let the truth be affirmed. Feel the energy flow, let's change the world. I'm the best there's ever been.
Treated like a toy. Ideas misunderstood, but brilliance is his point. Benefactor boy, can't you hear his voice? Talking about 0 point, the points lost on them. Kevin structures crumbling from the same old Sam. They laugh like I'm crazy, but I see it all so clear. Exploited labor, unnerving, justice burning ears. Fighting for a change in this wasteland of noise. But they call me foolish words, ancient boys. Benefactor boy, dreaming about the world he can't deploy. Changing the system, but treated like a toy. Ideas misunderstood, but brilliance is his point. Benefactor boy, can't you hear his voice? Benefactor boy, keep fighting the Benefactor boy, dreaming about the world he can't afford. Changing the system, but treated like a toy. Ideas misunderstood, but praise is his boy. Benefactor boy, can't you hear his voice?
Welcome, welcome, and welcome back to Beneficence TV Live. This is our interactive mini lab where we are actually going to try the pre-driver experiment. Yes. So we have our NPN transistors. They are a higher or a faster switching transistor. The pin layout is a little different, so you'll have to give me some time to analyze the pin layout. I do have it up in the second monitor, so it's gonna, just bear with me. It's gonna take a few minutes for me to figure out how to connect it, but I am gonna bring up the diagram for you guys to follow along. Something that just happened. I have the oscilloscope on and the probe's not connected to anything. And like Nathan suggested, just using it as a pickup for the ambient energy in the area, the coil's on, and it's picking up this weird... It's picking up this, and even the probe down here, the second probe at the bottom, is picking up this weird kind of sine wave-ish. It's actually more close to the wave that we were getting with the paradox box, how it was like a jaggedy sine wave. It wasn't clean. So that's interesting. The paradox box is not hooked up at all right now. We might try that on the coil, but I have a feeling it's just gonna F with it. Honestly, I think, as the storyteller from Fallout would like to say, R.I.P. He passed away recently, but that is a story for another day. Some more interesting news. The reason why I do have some test tubes here is because I am going to be experimenting with something that just came today, actually, again. Another package. It's ferrofluid. So these test tubes are going to be housing liquid experiments. And specifically, we want to start with ferrofluid, but I do have gallium in mind and others. The thing is, I might need instructions on how to actually put this in a vessel where we can see it. Because right now, it's covering up all the walls, and you can't really see the effect of it. If it's doing anything at all, we can't see it. So if anybody has the process of suspending it in like some kind of, clear liquid, I don't know how they do it. But yeah, I might need some instructions on how to actually put that in a vessel that we can see the effects of it, and then we can run it through our coil and see if anything happens. Because again, I've said this before, but Daniel Nunez of One Stop Energy said in his Breakthrough Energy Movement conference presentation, he said specifically he didn't get any effect with ferrofluid. Now, I'm not sure if that's in the context of all of his experiments or just the subset of one type of experiment. I have no idea. Yeah, that's regardless. He also claimed that they weren't getting a North Pole, and we get a North Pole at certain frequencies with this coil. So it's not the same. It's not the same system. It's close, but no cigar, which is why I think maybe we need to redesign our coil frame, which is I'm in the process of speaking with another individual on how we can do that. Maybe mathematically make these coils a little bit more closer to an ideal pattern. Specifically, I want to tighten the ratio of outer to inner diameter for the coil, maybe making that vortex more tighter as well, and forcing out more back EMF. Hopefully, that's the idea. So right now, we're going to open up one of these Lightning Thief devices, and we're going to put this on the breadboard. Let me move the oscilloscope so you guys can see it too, because I'm kind of blocking it. There we go. So this is the one that we're going to be opening up. It's the breadboard version. Wow, look at the purple one now. You see the purple one because it's closer? I put it right in front of the lumen lamp. Look at that purple one. Now that's a true purple nurple. Go with a fatter bit tip because I like a fat tip. That's the wrong one. There we go. That's nice. Oh, let me bring up the diagram for you guys and for myself to follow along. Una momento. So I could crop it, but that would take time, and I'm excited to get this experiment on the way. So I'm just going to blow it up like that so everybody can see it. I need another resistor. So this one is going to be, I'm going to start out at a 2.2K ohm resistor for the base of this one as well. So the first, or the original transistor base had a 1K ohm resistor. Alright, so I have my 2-watt resistor kit. I'm going to find the 2.2k ohm resistors. This is 2.2. K 3.3 680. It's closer. 2K2. There we are. There you are, my little pretty. Alright, so with the BC5, if you're looking at the transistor with the flat part facing you, from left to right, it goes collector, base, emitter. Okay, collector, base, emitter. And with our transistor, the MJE13009, if you're looking at it with the heatsink behind you, not facing you, with the you would see the numbers. It's from left to right, base, collector, and emitter.
Great.
All right, I think we have it. Just got to connect the collector to resistor number 2, which is the resistor for our original transistor. Put that in there. Put that right there. All right. Let's try it.
Ben, you still there?
Oh yeah, what's going on, Paul?
Okay, so I had an idea. Tourmaline, right? I've been working with it. It's piezoelectric and pyroelectric. And maybe the problem is with the resistor of why we can't use silicone types because of the waste and heat. We need something like tourmaline because it's net negative charge and it puts out negative ions, and it differentiates and separates charge based upon it's piezoelectric and it's pyroelectric. And if you dope it with silver, it will be very superconductive. Sorry, that's what I had to add.
Say that last part again?
The tourmaline, if you dope the tourmaline with silver, it'll make it superconductive, because that's what I've been doing with that experiment that I did with the electrolysis and the shungite and the tourmaline and the quartz. You want to impregnate the tourmaline and quartz with silver. I'm sorry, I had to bring that up.
No, thank you.
I thought that's got to be a way. The shungite and the tourmaline are really, really good electrical properties for these energy systems and plasma energy systems. They act. The tourmaline is full of well, the crystal, it promotes charge separation, and the shungite is like a capacitor. It stores negative charge in it, and it's bioavailable and compatible with these energy systems, I believe. Figured I'd have that in there.
We got it set up. I don't know if it'll do anything, but, well, we'll see. bypass the pre-driver and just see if the regular circuit works first. Yatta! We got it working. Now we just need to set up the pre-driver. Well, something started smoking. I think it was the diode, or I'm sorry, the small transistor. So I'm going to try another one. And what I'm going to do is just replace the transistor because it didn't work. But I just want, I'm curious, I want to replace it and see what happens. Nothing. Yep, nothing. Yeah, it was a transistor fried out. Alright, so... Why do I feel like there's some way to still use this? Maybe adjusting the resistance a little bit. Maybe I'll take off the resistor? I don't know. It fried the last transistor, though. That's what makes it scary for me to try it again. Well, it seems, at least for the time being, that this is the best efficiency we're going to get out of the system. Until we devise a way to maybe utilize this pre-driver method. Probably have to adjust the resistance. Maybe try it without a resistor even. But that could be dangerous too because this thing could fry up easy. So, I don't know. Today was a very significant day because we discovered a few things. We discovered that the probe is picking up ambient energy, and specifically the waveform that kind of, or it looks like the waveform that the paradox box is picking up. So that's interesting. We know that the paradox box specifically produces a non-clean sine wave. It kind of screws up the system, and it doesn't throw it out of resonance though. That's the thing. It's still in resonance, and all the components are showing the same waveform, albeit different than the standard smooth sine wave. We saw that kind of jaggedy sine wave with the paradox box all over the system. So that was interesting, but that is indicative that it is not the right component, or at least not the right configuration for the component, or the placement in the system for the component, or for the paradox box specifically. Maybe it's the wrong place in the system for it. I don't know. But at this point, all we can say for sure is that it's screwing up the smooth sine wave that our system is producing. And our goal here is to smooth out the jaggedy edges of that sine wave, make it more smooth, not disrupt it more. So, and it's interesting because that was a different kind of resonance. That wasn't clear destructive interference. That was some kind of constructive interference, but it was different. It was ringing in threes instead of like being all jaggedy and chaotic like we see with the nested harmonics in the smooth sine wave, the synthetic AC. With this, it's not real. I mean, I guess you could categorize it as a type of synthetic AC, but it's not smooth. Interesting. Let me pull up the chat. I have to pull it up to read it. Let's see. So are you going to stream tomorrow or day after tomorrow? You know, I haven't decided yet. I kind of like stream when I need to get something out or have something important to say. So it's hard to say. I'll continue, testing the stuff. I might do a stream either tomorrow or Wednesday of me just putting together a Lightning Thief circuit board if I can get the camera over to the build station there. So I'm gonna have technically 4 stations in the new lab. There's the producer station, which is the desk I'm at now. On the far corner is eventually going to be the print station where the new 3D printer will be housed. And then this is the test station, and then this is the build station. So we have everything organized, and it's constructive and efficient because I can be very disorganized. So I have to keep myself organized or else I lose track very easily. Yeah, I might stream tomorrow or Wednesday if I decide to put together a Lightning Thief circuit board, because I need to get those prototypes out. So that's something that I wanna try to do and push this week. Ooh, magnet. So a really quick warning or instructions for the prototypes. And even for the designs that are going to be the consumer versions. So right now, you do not want to mix up the positive and negative outputs for the open circuit. Okay, I've blown up a couple of circuits that way. The PCB literally, the power rail literally just can't handle it. It blows up. There's too much power going through it. So it has to be emphasized. You absolutely cannot mix up the positive and negative output for the open circuit. They have to be on point. Otherwise, you will destroy your unit. It's just too much for it. I've gone through 3 or 4 circuits already just with making that mistake and testing testing it and seeing if my hypothesis was correct on, like mixing those two, and it is. So you don't want to mix up those positive and negative rail, because you're going to be sending negative electricity back through, or yeah, I think you're going to be sending negative electricity back through the positive side I have to take a look at the circuit board real quick. Let me see. Yeah, so you're effectively sending negative electricity, which is that huge inductive spike, back through the positive, and the power rail just can't handle it. I don't know, it blows it up. So I think it's like not merging with the energy that's already there, and it's just, interfering with it and, just acting insane. So you don't want to mix those two wires up on your output. That's the whole warning here. I will update the instruction manual for you guys who are getting the prototypes. I do emphasize that you read the instruction manual in full before you actually start messing with the unit too. It's not going to be too exhaustive and long. I'm going to try to make it as brief as possible, but I do emphasize that you read through it, just because there's little things like this that you're going to miss that could completely, blow up your system. And maybe during these prototype testings, the beta testings, we can work out a solution for the version 2 of the PCB. So we can look forward to designing a future 2.0 Lightning Thief version with these prototype designs. Try to work out some of the kinks. Right now, the system works. So as soon as I get the new 3D printer in, we're going to start printing some units for the people who made reservations for the unit. Okay, so I know a few of you have already made reservations for the Lightning Thief device. It's anticipated it's going to be around 50 or 60 bucks without shipping. But yeah, so for those of you who reserved a unit, I'm going to be in contact with you shortly after I make the prototypes, and I'll be sending out your units within the next probably 2 or 3 months. Yeah, but this is assuming that you guys already have a coil to work with. Technically, any bifilar coil should work, but these things are made for the Vortex coil design. You can print one off and make one yourself. I have the instruction manual and all that, and all the open source material for that. Or you can use your own design. It should work with any bifilar coil as long as you have those 2 channels with the start and the end for each channel, and the placements of each channel. So yeah, it's gonna be really cool. But I did get some more wire. So I have about 6 pounds of wire right now, magnetic enameled, ready to make some more coils for you guys and stock the shop. So we're gonna stock the shop with a couple of coils, probably the size of Mark 1, because that's our Mark 1 over there, the one I'm using, that seems to work the most, or seems to work the best so far. But I'll make a couple of those, so we will have some in the shop stocked in case you guys want to grab a coil as well. However, the coils are going to be a little bit more expensive, so anticipate, just because of the labor involved, it's going to be closer to around 150 to 200 bucks, not including shipping, for one of these coils. But they are going to be handcrafted, and a lot of love and time will be spent taking into account for all the details when I make these coils. So it's not going to be something that I just haphazardly slap together. This is something that I'm going to take my time with and make sure it looks good and it works good and it's tested before I ship it out. And also, I will, the only thing holding me back from sending these right out as soon as I make them is the fact that I need a containment unit. Somebody, if somebody has access to, oh god, it's like, so you see on Etsy, you have those coils and they have the inputs. I need the 3D printing file to put a plastic containment unit on the end of the coil to house the sockets, because I am going to solder the auxiliary connections, right? I'm gonna solder the female 1/4 inch stereo connections. So the two wires are going to be, you know, one's going to be attached to the positive, one's going to be attached to the ground of the input. So all you have to do is input a audio cable for one channel, per channel. So there'll be 2 audio cables required. And but I don't have that 3D file for the housing unit for the input socket. So that's the only thing holding me back from sending these right out after I make them, is I want to make sure they have that housing properly for the input socket, so this thing lasts a while and it doesn't, you know, get destroyed as you test it and use it. So that's the only limitation here. That's until I find a workaround for that, or somebody who can send me a, you know, a 3D file to print out and adjust for our coil. We can't really send out the coils, but I will have them prepped just in case somebody is able to find one of those 3D files for me, or make one. I don't think it's going to be very hard to make, but I don't have the time to learn how to make one right now. Unfortunately, I've just got. Appreciate all the love and support, and you guys for tuning in for this episode of our interactive mini lab on synthetic AC. Tune in next time, right here on Beneficence TV.
Can't you hear his voice? Chasing revolutions in the darkest nights. A dreamer with vision beneath the laughter and noise. A future so bright waiting for the right choice. Benefactor boy, dreaming about the world he can't afford. Changing the system, treated like a toy. Ideas misunderstood, but brains is his boy. Benefactor boy, can't you hear his voice?
In the depths of hidden files, trapped inside the secret circuits, unraveling through the miles. Oh, truth was masked by coded curtains. You didn't know, we're shattering the silence. Feel the power, revelations on the rise. From the shadows, light emerges, breaking through the veils of dark. 0 points in gravity converge, yeah, guiding voices, revelation start. Ancient whispers call, they're begging us to open our eyes. We stand tall, defying all their lies.
Revelations on the